the Spirit Sessions podcast. I'm your guide, Katie Silcox, bringing you your weekly self-love soundbite. Join us, where I'll help you find your true spiritual home, where every single aspect of you is holy ground, holy ground, holy ground, holy ground.
This is a Spirit Session podcast with Katie Silcox, Venga Chicos, empezamos.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hi everyone, Katie here. This podcast is intended to inspire you, educate you, and most importantly, support you on your journey towards knowing who you really are, that inner self, that inner teacher. I am not a psychologist or a medical doctor and do not offer professional health or medical advice on this podcast. If you are suffering from any kind of psychological or medical issue, please do the right thing and seek help from your qualified health professional. Hello, everyone. It's your Ayurveda Gal Friday. This week's podcast is brought to you by Banyan Botanicals. Today, we are talking about, as you know, if you're a follower of the podcast, how much we love ghee. If you love being in your kitchen, I have got one ingredient that's really going to change the taste of your food and the way you cook, and it's grass-fed ghee from Banyan Botanicals. Ghee has been used in Ayurveda for thousands of years, and it is one of my absolute favorite pantry staples. I do use it on everything. Sauteing vegetables, roasting, baking. You can put it on toast. It is yummy. It's rich, cultured, nutty flavor, and it makes you feel satisfied from the meals that you eat. But what I love about Banyan's ghee in particular is it is super high quality, you guys. It's handmade. They do it in small batches. They use organic cultured butter from pasture-raised, grass-fed cows on small family farms in Northern California. And you can really taste all of that love and care that goes into it. So if you need a super versatile cooking oil that's rooted in Ayurveda tradition and made with thoughtfully sourced ingredients, I definitely recommend giving Banyan Botanicals grass-fed ghee a try. You can find it at banyanbotanicals.com/Katie. And I'll put the link in the show notes. That's banyanbotanicals.com/Katie. And on to the show. So today we are talking about something really pervasive, something really, almost taboo to talk about. And so I know you're going to love this episode because who doesn't love a good, juicy taboo? I do. And we talk a lot about this in our level 1 Ayurveda school. Not only do we talk about it, but it's woven into the fabric of everything that we do at Shakti School. And that is one of the principles of Ayurveda, particularly in the feminine form tradition, is that every woman is your sister. We treat women like they are members of our family. Not only our friends or our actual family members, work colleagues, but every woman, no matter what she looks like, no matter where she's from. And I realize that can be challenging. I have, a sister and I have a mother and I have friends. And, to be honest, I've had heartbreak in those realms. I've had letdowns. I've done the heartbreaking. I've felt the heartbreaking. I've felt let down. I've let people down. And yet, really, really always come back to this truth. And one of the central principles of my heart and my spiritual practice is I want to use every experience as an opportunity to open and to learn. And there is this thing that women have going on, and men do their thing. And not to make it a woman-man thing, but and men can do it and women can do it, blah, 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 the caveat. You guys know, right? We're super nuanced in our thinking. And yet there are these, as we saw with the male and female brain episodes, there's a thing that we do that I refer to in my own practice as the inner goddess sumo wrestling match. women do this. We've got a little inner goddess sumo wrestling match going on underneath the surface of our interactions with other women. And it can show up in a number of ways. And what we're trying to do in today's episode and in our practices when we work in both our level 1 and our level 2 programs is just to name the thing. And in that way, we take some of the shame and some of the stigma away from it. And if you're already feeling like, ugh, I'm already triggered by this, what I would say is just bear with me. Often in Ayurveda, the medicine that we need tastes like bitter poison to begin with. And in my work in Tantra over the years, what I've found is that, especially when I'm working with someone I really love and trust, and I'm working with myself alone, when something feels really icky and I don't even want to go there, my teacher calls it when you feel the most discombobulated, that's where we should go, right? Obviously, never overwhelming yourself, never doing anything when it's too much. But the inner goddess sumo wrestling match is one of the realms where I see people get squirmy and squirrely in their seats. Because everybody wants to stay in the delusion that we're all besties. And, I was laughing with my level 2 class last week, and I was cracking up, and I could see all of them laughing in their Zoom windows. And it's go watch Love Island, right? And what I love about Love Island, one of the things that I take great pleasure in, and it's almost so overproduced that it's I don't even know if I can keep watching this show. But psychologically, I truly enjoy watching the inner goddess sumo wrestling match taking place. And so everyone on there looks like the freaking Helena of Troy and Aphrodite and Lakshmi. Okay, these are physically perfect specimens. They're everything that our culture tells women that they need to be, right? So they won the genetic lottery and they're beautiful women. And I mean, truly beautiful women. And yet they are not immune to the things that we're all dealing with. Jealousy, insecurity, fear of being rejected, anxious attachment, ambivalent attachment, avoidance. All of that is going on. And on the surface, there's this phrase that if you're a Love Island person, and it's, oh, I'm a girl's girl, right? Oh, I'm a girl's girl. I am always going to just be on the side of team women. And yet underneath the surface, there is this inner goddess sumo wrestling match going on. And Love Island's a silly example. But in real life, the inner goddess sumo wrestling match is the way that all of us have to watch the way that we compare ourselves to others. We have to watch the way that we all can fall victim to that unconscious or unspoken, at least, hierarchy that we may all kind of witness. And it might show up as, am I the most beautiful one here? Am I the least beautiful one here? For others, it might be, am I the most powerful? Am I the least? Am I the most successful? Am I the least? Am I the most academically, inclined? Am I the smartest? Am I the least? What does my house look like? What is my husband's job? How is our marriage doing? What are my kids like compared to yours? And on and on and on. Under the surface, we all are working with this secret psychological structure. And it's all about comparison. And then from there, the root of it is, I am not enough. I'm not enough in some way. And by the way, the other side of that is I'm everything. And so that's the deep insecurity is the sister of the narcissistic activity. And when we have that whole setup going on, we are, and I say we all can fall prey to the way that we can be manipulative. We are jealous. We are gossips. We may flirt with our friend's man. We may only do it in our mind. or we may actually be cheaters, right? We could secretly wish for someone else not to get the promotion. We could secretly wish for someone not to win the race. We could secretly wish bad things on other people. And that's the taboo, right? And y'all know at this point, I'm a Southern Belle. We all love each other and we're all sweeties, right? Bless your heart. But underneath the surface, bless your heart is the best phrase, right? Because under the surface of bless your heart, there's the unspoken next phrase, bless your heart, tramp, right? And I know you might be like, whoa, 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 I never do that. But what I would invite you into in this episode is to really think about the part of you that does it. And the key here is we aren't making anybody bad. We're not talking about bad women. We're talking about these unconscious, often, until they're not, that's the definition of yoga, survival strategies that I don't know a woman in our culture that didn't inherit from her family and from, our world. So the villain isn't us. The villain isn't women. The villain is the lie that we're separate. It's about noticing this little invisible wrestling match that happens beneath consciousness. It's a place where our true inner goddess forgets that you belong to a Sampradaya. Sampradaya means a lineage of love, a lineage of sisters. And we start acting awkward. And that's why I call it a sumo wrestler, because they're awkward and they're being, brutish. We're like in a cage match where we think we have to compete for love, for attention, for money, for power, for status, for beauty, for youth, for attention. I'll say it again, for attention, and for safety. And so in Ayurveda, we understand everything's interdependent. We are relational beings. We are always exchanging energy. And it's the sumo wrestling match because it is the opposite of our elegance and opposite of our dignity. And it's the opposite of Swasta, the meaning of health, right? Spiritual health, physical health, emotional health, mental health. It's the opposite of that. So when we get in the sumo wrestling match, first and foremost, we abandon ourselves, we harm ourselves, and we're not standing in our dignity and in our power. So I had this experience, and I'll try to share it I'll share it broadly. So don't want to create any ruffles, but I had the experience where I walked into a room and a woman in that room didn't acknowledge my presence. She didn't say hello. And I'm a very friendly person. I'm a double Leo. I'm like a golden retriever when you first meet me. And I'm very, very polite, usually very nice, at least on the surface, right? Because I've got my own inner sumo wrestling match, of course. But this person didn't even acknowledge my presence. And I thought, oh, the first time that happened, it was maybe she didn't notice me. The second time it happened again, and it was weird. And then when it happened again, and every time I walked into this particular room, it kept happening, I realized this has nothing to do with me. And so it became a practice for me that every time I walked in and I was not even acknowledged and in some ways kind of put down, I would notice the feeling in me. And it was really weird because I'm used to walking into rooms full of women and women being like, hi. And especially in the yoga world or the Ayurveda world, I've kind of become a little bit well known. And it's that's the other side. It's oh, hi, yay. But in this room, nobody knows who I am. And some of the women in this room do not want me there, perhaps. Or that's my perception. And so when I walked in, I made it a practice to feel how fucking bad that feels. Sorry, dropping the F-bomb, because it deserves the F-bomb, because it feels horrible, because guess what it is? And here comes another big slap of the taboo. It felt like I was being rejected. Ew. It's the worst. It sucks. Even talking about it, I want to throw up. It feels terrible to feel rejected. And then instead of feeling that, what it would come online next is my defenses. And yeah, don't they know who I am? I love all women, and they should love me because I love them, and I'm like a woman person. Like, don't they know they have this opportunity to be loved and accepted? It's whole freaking ego, story bullshit. And I would just kind of go there. And then I would walk it back, and I would just feel like the raw little girl, Katie Silcox in high school, that would walk into rooms and feel ugly or feel fat or feel less than. And so then it was like a challenge, and it was like, hell yeah, let's freaking go to the room again and again. Not that I'm going to be besties with anybody in that room, but it felt empowered. It felt like no matter what, I am not going to leave my own experience. And I don't need to go into strategy of making her less than so that I can feel better than. In Ayurveda, one of the most beautiful teachings is that all of our life is a relationship. Nothing exists independently. Our thoughts aren't even sealed into a container in our brain. Our nervous systems are bouncing off everything else outside of us, including the people in the rooms that we walk into. When a woman is deeply rooted in her heart and in her belly and in her legs, other women feel it. And usually other women can relax into that and it feels really good. But sometimes when we are deeply rooted in ourselves, you guys, and other people feel it, they are uncomfortable with that. If we're used to operating from fear and we're really familial and familiar with that, when a woman walks in standing in love for other women, some women find that disconcerting or weird or untrustworthy. Why did all this happen? We can go back to the first chakra. The first chakra is our physical body. It is our survival systems. It's our relationship to our kind of like local tribe. And we evolved as women in environments throughout time, and our brains and bodies and hormones evolved in a very scarcity mindset. In environments where resources were limited, protection was limited, marriage was something that we, and I'm speaking, by the way, on a first chakra level, because marriage is also a place of the heart and the spiritual body. But marriage was in the first chakra all about just like security, like resource gathering, protection. And in that, your youth and your fertility and your beauty had economic value. And attention from particularly men meant that you would get food, you get safety, approval meant that you belonged. And so for a lot of women operating solely on a first chakra basis, that operating system is still really running in our mind and in our brains. And so our nervous system learned another woman's gain can mean my loss. Yeah, even if like you have a PhD, even if intellectually you know that's not true, even if you have $1 million in your bank account, our body and our lineage might just totally disbelieve that. Even if you know you're safe, these are programs that are running for thousands of years. And so to counteract that survival mechanism, it takes a pretty hefty lift. And guess what? Social media makes this so much worse. The media in general make it worse because all we're seeing are like our Instagram reels suggestions full of filters and fillers and dating apps and productivity and even wellness culture that's always showing us women who are probably in our mind's eye more beautiful, younger, more fit, more toned, more flexible, financially better off, thinner, richer, more spiritual, more fertile, more effortless. Good God. I mean, the memes are endless, right? We're in our kitchen using glacier water from, the recent snow to make ice cubes for our kids in like a beautiful dress with like a perfectly coiffed hair. It's like now even this like idea of the trad wife, the traditional wife, who can be the most feminine, the most like home care person, the ego starts to keep score. And it's just the trend of now, right? And In other communities, it's who's the strongest, right? Who's the most fit? Who's got the most muscle? And on and on and on we can go. But the ego is the one who's keeping score. So one of the ways you can know if you're in an inner goddess sumo wrestling match with another woman is there comparison, and am I keeping score? Better, worse. The goddess does not keep score. The goddess celebrates other women's wins, other women's beauty, other women's bodies, other women's success, other women's husbands, other women's kids, other women's homes. Celebrate it. And it's not dramatic. It's not on Instagram. It's subtle. It's energetic. And it is standing in truth and dignity. And that is, your gain is my gain. Your joy is my joy. Your beauty is what I get to enjoy. So we can notice when I walk into a room, what am I scanning for? Where are you ranking or keeping score? Here's some more taboo. Have you ever noticed when you gossip or get some news and someone fails, there's like a little pleasure in it. There's a little unconscious exhale. And it's not because we're cruel. It's because we all have egos that whisper to us, good, I'm now safer. My ego, right? Now I got a little bit more value because she lost some. And women aren't the only ones doing this. Yeah. Jealousy. Jealousy is a big one. It's not bad. It's not wrong. It's information. For me, it's like this horrible practice. I hate it. You guys, even talking about it, I'm like, bleh, I don't want to do it. So I'm just being honest. Like, your ego is going to buck the bronco on this. Jealousy is the call from the soul that I, Katie Silcox, have forgotten my value. I have forgotten that I am also beautiful, that I am also radiant, that I'm also powerful, that my life, every messy bit of it, is sacred. I've forgotten it. I've gone to sleep. And jealousy is a sign to wake up. Gossip. Gossip, another big one. We love it. And let's be real. On a first chakra level, okay, survival, gossip has performed, and you can look at the sociology and anthropological studies around this. Gossip's not bad. Gossip has been the way that we have shared information, particularly for women, about maybe dudes that we should avoid. It can be a way that we share social information that does keep us safe. Right? So like if there's some dude in the community doing wacky stuff, me telling another sister about that is not bad. Right? There can be like a powerful positive about talking about what's going on. But we have to kind of check ourselves. Like, is this coming from a place of wanting to share information, or that's going to kind of help support everybody? Or is this a way that we are, again, displacing our fear, not digesting our own emotions, metabolizing somebody else's drama or their story in a way like we're having an outer relationship with something that we haven't fully digested in ourselves? With whom I am gossiping, it is going to create a temporary feeling of connection. But inevitably, if there's negativity in our speech, it will weaken trust over time. So me saying, hey, I went to this, massage therapist guy and he like did some weird touch I wasn't comfortable with. Don't go to him. I'm just giving an example. That builds trust. That is information sharing. I wouldn't even almost say it's gossip, but me like taking like a secret pleasure in speaking about another woman to my girlfriend is going to subconsciously make her not trust me. And they've done studies on this. People who call out, quote, call out other people on the internet, the culture, the society views that person more negatively than the person they're talking about. Just FYI, public service announcement. Don't go online and talk shit about other people, because you will be the one that people trust less. Another thing we talk about in our level 1 and level 2 programs at Shakti School, and we work with this energetically. So I'd love for all of you listeners, if you haven't signed up for level 1 and done our school, like, we are in our Summer of Love bonus where we give you guys a discount on the already discounted price and a ton of extra gifts. And you can start studying with me now for free, by the way. Link to that in the show notes. But one of the things that makes us all super uncomfortable is the way that we're all kind of flirting in different ways with getting more, right? Overtly, we might share, let's not say share, let's say send sexual energy out in ways that might be hurtful to a friend, to a sister, flirting with someone else's partner. Sometimes it's not even about wanting the man, it's about wanting evidence that you could have him. It's about ego validation, false power, silly girl proof. It's a nervous system that needs that little pop rocks candy feeling of I'm still wanted, I'm still desirable. Your soul does not need any of that. Your soul doesn't need proof of its lovability and desirability. And when you get it, it's pop rocks candy. There's zero nourishment. Zero. There's also one that's a little bit more insidious because it's very subtle, and it's the victim card. It's emotional competition. My suffering's bigger. My healing's deeper. My trauma's worse. You know, on another level, like, I'm more spiritual, and spirituality can become a form of competition. And this one's really insidious. It's the feeling of I'm better than, or I'm worse than. You know, the compliment that's actually a comparison, the passive aggressivity of bless your heart, right? It's like, hey, you look amazing. I could never wear that. Or, hey, have you lost weight? Like, those kind of comments, like, maybe it's just a statement of fact and it's completely innocent, but we have to kind of track that. Like, what's the energy behind it? Invisible dominance. That is everywhere. This is the way the ego builds its leaderboard. And in Ayurveda, we would call this ama. It's not physical, it's subtle ama. It's undigested emotional content. Comparison is the enemy of our soul. It really is. All of these feelings that I've been kind of talking about, I hope that you really hear me when I say, like, they're not bad. We have to open to seeing how we all do this. And the more that we think that we never do this or we don't do this, the more these things get locked into place and they cloud the heart. They reduce our ojas, our vitality. They disturb our prana, our energy, and they inflame rajas, which is the unhelpful form of passion and comparison and attachment. The goddess does not need to win. You know, my teacher's teacher, Rosalind Bruyere, would say, the one with the biggest aura wins. And how do I get that? I'm in my own energy. I'm in my own connection to God. I'm in my own connection to my path, my work, my own energy, my own energy. That's the divine feminine. It doesn't need to compete because there is limitless prana. There's limitless Holy Spirit available to everyone. Abundance is not divided out like a pie chart. There's no pie. Love is not a pie. Love is an infinite ocean of unending waves of beauty, radiance, bliss for all. Limitless supply. Every woman will become, actually, ironically, way more radiant when we understand that physically, viscerally, emotionally, and spiritually. So how do we reverse this flow? This is called tapas. Tapas means like the fire of not taking part in what you usually take part in. Sisterhood is a spiritual practice. Here's how do we start. Can you celebrate another woman while your ego feels contracted? Can you bless another woman's success? Can you genuinely pray for the success of her job or her marriage? Can you applaud her beauty, her body, her business, her baby? Could you applaud her wins? And you can't force the funk, you know what I mean? Like you've got to kind of like dig through what's preventing you from doing that, because naturally we do that. I'm going to say that again. Naturally we celebrate people. That's our natural nature. Our natural nature. So what is in the way of me being able to celebrate her? So I'm going to give you the tantric practice, okay? It's not a sticky note affirmation. That shit don't work. It doesn't. It doesn't work. Here's how to make it work, okay? A, everything is workable. So, when I walk in that painful room where I felt rejected, I first have to feel the uncomfortable feelings that come up in me because of the outer situation. So I've got to first open my heart to seeing that, feeling that, being with myself in that. And in that case, it was the feeling of rejection. I got to do that work. And you can do it in the moment. It's really, really freaking powerful to do it in the moment. Or you can do it later in your bedroom when nobody's watching and you remember the situation. So you got to do that. That's the shadow work. And then in the moment, you can do this. And as a practice, you can do this. You breathe in the feeling of discomfort. And in my example, it was rejection. In other examples, it could be the jealousy, the anger, the hatred, the grief, the loss, the rage. You breathe it in. You breathe it into your heart. You take it on. You can even see it as dark cloud or claustrophobic gray ash, whatever. You just breathe in this uncomfortable thing. And then you breathe out the good thing that you think she has that you want. You breathe it out for her. Ooh, girl. It's hard. Okay. So I breathe in the feeling of rejection and I breathe out the feeling of total love and acceptance for her. I breathe in the feeling of rejection and I breathe out the feeling of total love and acceptance for her benefit. The very woman that made me feel rejected, that's, in my opinion, doing the rejecting, I breathe out acceptance for her. So cute. I got a call from someone related to that story. I don't know if you guys could hear that. Interesting. Okay. I'm already filled with the joy. I actually was kind of doing that practice as I was telling you guys about it. And I'm going to cry because it's the opposite of what we think, ladies. We think I'm going to just hold on to this feeling of F you, bitch. And I'm going to talk about her. And I'm going to tell the world how rude she was. What kind of person does not acknowledge me? You know, Queen Silcox has entered the room, right? And do you see, that's my ego strategy where I make myself bigger and I make her less than. So we kind of psychically inner goddess sumo wrestle or adjusted the scales, didn't we? No. That's the old way. And I'm good at it, y'all. I'm good at it. I got a big old mouth that's very convincing. But I don't do that, right? I go, ooh. Because guess what? When I do that, there's this little blip of feeling good because my ego, but I've done so much practice that truly, like, I don't even feel good. It doesn't even feel good. It feels like I'm eating ding-dongs and ho-hos. So what I just now did as I was describing the practice, I was doing it on her and it's like Liberation Day. It's freedom. It's like, I actually wish her well. And as I'm breathing in the rejection, I'm clearing it for both of us. And as I'm breathing out the medicine, guess who gets the biggest first dose? Katie Silcox. You feel me? So it's the opposite of what we do. We go, I don't want to feel the rejection. I want to make her feel it. So I'm going to reject her. Now I'm going to say one more thing. And this is super important. None of this shit needs to be said out loud. And everybody feels it anyways. Okay? This is the magical part, you all. when I walk in the room, even if I've kept my mouth shut, which I have in that particular room, nobody's ever seen me show my ass. Okay. Meaning I'm quiet. I don't give an outer response to what I've perceived as a slight. No way. I at least have that much dignity. But guess what? I'm hating on her in my heart. And I'm talking about her to someone outside that's my friend. I don't like that she did this and blah, 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 blah. That creates this inner goddess sumo wrestling match, cage match, whatever the like championship round is, right? No one needs to say anything because the energy is doing the speaking. So every time I walk in that room, even though I've not said one word, there's a certain energetic current that I've been sending out, both in the moment and outside, if I did that, where I've been hating on her in some big or small way. So now when I go in, there's an energy dynamic. And by the way, for most women, this is totally unconscious. The woman in question has no conscious idea this is going on. All she knows is that when I come in again, she likes me even less. Do you feel me? And I like her even less. And we don't even need to exchange one word or one glance. There's an energy vortex where we're dancing it out. Ew! No freaking thank you. So that's what inspired the podcast. I said, I'm going to go to this place as many times as I need to clear the feeling of rejection in me so that I can actually, for real, not faking it, send her love and acceptance. I'm going to keep putting myself in this lion's den, or like an old school tantric, the charnel ground. I'm going to keep going to the charnel ground until I'm not afraid of death anymore. And I'm not afraid of death because I've let my ego die to it all. That is what Jesus Christ meant when he said, love your enemies. That is what Jesus meant when he said, turn the other cheek. It is the opposite of meekness. It is the most badass thing that you can do on the planet. It is radical energy work. And now I walk out of that room and I have so much strength in my spine. It is strong. It is full of light. I am proud of myself, but I'm full of love and I'm able to give it. Wow. Yay me in that moment, because not yay me a lot of the time. I'm not claiming any spiritual hierarchy here, but I'm just excited to share it with you all because it just feels so freaking good when you free yourself from the inner goddess sumo wrestling match. It's an ongoing practice. None of us are going to get it perfect, but this is the kind of stuff we do at the Shakti School. It starts this coming January. Join the Shakti School. Join our Ayurveda Level 1 program. It's actually our 9th. It's starting in January, but we are in July now. We are in what we call hot girl summer, and you're hot because you do not do the inner goddess sumo wrestling match thing. You do this other thing. That's what makes us for realsies hot girl, radiant girl, fiery queens that we are. We want you to join now in July so we can get started with you now. When you join level 1, and we have amazing payment plans, you can start in my Spirit Sessions membership today for free for a full year. If that sounds great to you, hit us up. We want to talk to a live person. We've got coaches ready to take your call. They are my friends. They've done Ayurveda school. They're amazing women. We have really, really worked hard to cultivate this team. Or just sign up, just click, just go, do it now. I'm like that. I don't need a call. I know it. I feel it. Sign up now, level 1, and you're going to get all these free gifts. And gifts I didn't even tell you about. It's all written up in the show notes. You guys, let's do this. Let's not do the inner goddess sumo wrestling match. Let's actually just access our soul. Sending you much love for Hot Girl Summer, and I hope to see your shining face in January. A big special thanks to Kevin Carlisle of Goodbye Gemini who wrote this beautiful podcast music, and to DJ Juan Pablo Jimenez in southern Spain for mixing it and making it magic.